Hello everyone! It is finally time for the minimum A presses task of Super Mario Bros. To premiere. This has been very long time in the making. Very first was suggested in 2016. I finally convinced Happily to help me out with it in 2018 because I couldn't do it by myself. And then even we couldn't do it by ourselves, so we enlisted Kriller37, DeSmileCat, and Periwinkle. And finally, we have a beautiful, beautiful product to bring to all of you. I'm really excited to show it. Yeah, obviously the goal is to not press A very often. As few times as possible while still completing the game. Pretty simple. The A button makes Mario jump, it makes Mario swim. That's pretty much it. So how many A presses does it take to beat the game? What do you guys think? Let's get some predictions in the chat, see who's closest in the end. 56, 37, that's a good guess. I like that number. 64, 300, 70, 99, 49, 17. Some people very optimistic, saying like 5. Some people saying 300. Pretty big range. But who knows? There's never been anything like this in this game yet. This is a very popular thing to do in some other games, most notably Mario 64. But this is the beginning of minimum A presses in Super Mario Bros. 1. Alright. Without further ado, we will get started. Joining me, I have some people to give some hype reactions. They haven't seen it. Well, I have Kriller37, one of the authors, here with me. But I also have 11059, say hello, here to bring some hype.
Hello, I'm 11059, here to bring some hype.
There we go. And we also have Nifsky, current any percent world record holder for this game. Also hasn't seen the task. What's up, Nifsky?
Yo, what's up, everyone? I'm ready to get hyped.
Okay, very good. This task is seriously
And I'm
sick.
here too.
I'm going to be focusing... Yeah, Kriller's there too. Sorry, that's Kriller. That's his voice.
Hello, I'm Kriller. It is me.
He has seen the task, but he's still here, and we're gonna do some commentary afterwards to give a full explanation. But very first, to start it off, I will just play the full thing through, no stopping, and it is actually playing on my console. This is a real series of inputs that works on real hardware. You can see this is the console we'll be playing on. I will play it using a task replay device, and yeah, it's gonna be awesome. This task is so sick. So yeah.
All right. I think my prediction going in, before we start, I think it's going to be 59.
I like it.
Good
Pretty
guess.
good guess.
I'm gonna go with 20.
20. Okay, we'll see who's closer. And then we'll have to check chat replay, see if anyone guessed it exactly right earlier. Okay. 1 sec. Let me get the final things in order. I do have this input display up here, but the task does input so fast sometimes that it really doesn't keep up with it. Later on console, we'll get like a proper input, or I'll play it on emulator later during commentary, and then you can see more accurate inputs, but yeah. Okay, let me get every last thing I need set up, and then we'll go. Okay.
Let's get some hype in here.
Screen share is all good on Discord. Oh, I do want to mention that I believe DeSmileCat is in the chat watching. Periwinkle's probably here too. Yeah, I see him. Happily is in a much different time zone than us and couldn't make it, busy at this moment. But he does wish everyone very good wishes for being here, and he's really proud to be part of this project, and just thanks everyone who enjoys it as well. So yeah.
And you can always check the submission text of the task to see Happy's comments as well as everyone else's comments about this task.
Correct.
Later on.
Okay. Is everybody ready? Should I build up the suspense any longer?
All right.
You need a countdown. You need a countdown.
You are correct. Okay. You guys want to count us down? Nifsky, you want to count us down?
Yeah, I'll count down from 10. 10,
Okay.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start.
Here we go.
Let's
It has
go.
begun.
All right,
Starting
Let's
off.
go.
here we go.
That's 1 already.
Okay.
That's 2. There is a counter in the lower left that you can see here. Cosmic will be following along intentionally.
Oh.
Nice wall clip.
Nice.
Okay.
And here's where the magic starts.
Oh.
Ooh, not running off because... Why?
Oh,
Not
man.
going off the pipe.
What? Yo, that was awesome.
That is just the beginning.
Oh,
Just
man.
you wait.
Yeah, just the beginning.
You gotta love floaty physics.
I can't believe you can get all the way over there.
Wow.
Again, not
Whoa,
run to the
what?
right, because who needs to
Oh?
run to the right?
Oh, and just run on the top. Yeah.
Yeah.
Double
That's
wall
really smart. You
jump.
avoid all of...
Yeah.
Wow. Just going all the way over the top, and you can just make it basically all the way to the end of the level.
And
Okay.
more magic happens here.
What?
What?
Wait, hold on.
No.
Hold on.
Grabbing the fire flower,
So that shell's still down there. Yeah, the Koopa's still there.
and then clear this gap.
What?
Wow.
That's incredible. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Bouncing all the way over using that Koopa.
And even more magic happening here.
Oh.
For getting the coin? What? That's not a Koopa. You can't tell me that's a Koopa. That is
I
a...
think that was a Koopa. What do you mean? Blackatu drops Koopas.
No. It's not even a
Oh.
red Koopa. It's a green Koopa.
Spawning a Koopa with a Spiny.
Playing
Huh.
around with all these spinies that are falling down too.
Yeah, so now we gotta wait for the Koopa. We're probably gonna use him to bounce over something later. How are you not getting hit? Wow. Big jump into the block. What? Oh, the Koopa's still there. Now you have to wait for the Koopa.
There
Oh
is-
my
Oh, and you
goodness.
can use that to get past this.
There's definitely some waiting time in this task for an enemy. Or
Yeah.
two.
This is not a sub 5, unfortunately.
We did our best to make it entertaining while we waited around.
Yeah.
Man, he's going. This Koopa's going. Clearly, you know, Mario's just not in those spiny hitboxes. Obviously not.
Yeah. I mean, and then
No,
another floor clip. No way presses.
Oh, and that way you can get past basically everything in this level without any extra jumps.
This
We're
is
saving
insane.
a lot of A presses.
Yeah.
This was pretty
Oh,
much
there's a
my,
jump, though.
my big
Yeah.
idea.
Can't
Like,
clear that gap.
this was one of the
Yeah.
first ideas I had for this, and I said, we gotta make this because just this idea alone is so sick. And then there's so much more. Just wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mario's so far to the right now. Oh, no more Koopa. See ya. Oh, and you don't even have to jump over the thing at the end.
Yeah.
And you get...
We got a
And we get
full
low
flagpole
timer.
glitch.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow. Alright, Underground 4-2.
Okay.
So let's
this is gonna
see.
be interesting.
Classic 2 jump. Nothing really to work with there at the start, but is there something to work with here? Yes,
Oh.
apparently. What?
Wow.
373 on the pipe entry. I think 37.
It's just a really smart
then-
work. Yeah.
We got something
Okay,
brand
well there.
new up in this level.
Never done in a task.
Brand
Alright.
new. Never,
Never
done
done.
before.
And for
Watch
SMB1,
this,
that's
watch
saying
this.
something.
Whoa.
Mushroom jump?
Ready?
What?
What? What?
That's actually insane.
And then more Koopa, yeah?
No way.
Oh yeah, it's probably impossible to
Don't
Here we
worry,
come
you get to see it
again.
again.
Ow!
Oh man. Wait, now what? There's nothing here. What can you? Okay.
There's something
Oh,
over
you're-
here though.
Yeah, the
Oh.
beetle. I can use the beetle the same
Oh my
way.
gosh.
This looks so weird. Just the beetle, just walking. He's not even aligned with the block. He's just like on a random Y value.
It's not random.
Oh, the biggest jump. Well, yeah, sorry. It's orange.
Very
Wow.
calculated.
Very calculated is the way to describe this task.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is just mind blowing.
Can you guess what we're using the beetle for?
I have no idea.
What else is left?
Oh, no way.
It's not random. We gotta bounce on him.
Gotta get to the flagpole.
Nice.
He
Nice.
was just high enough.
55 in game second, 8-1. 8-2, an old version is on YouTube, but this is a brand new version with
Brand new.
much
Oh.
better RNG.
Never before seen.
Yeah.
Alright, let's go, Koopa. Where are we going?
Okay.
Going in the floor, of
This
course.
might be the
Good double.
craziest thing
Two
in
quick
any
ones.
task ever.
Yeah. Literally, this is insane.
What?
No
What?
A presses. No A presses.
No way.
And now you're gone?
And now we got a triangle of bullets. Floor clip. Out of the floor in the puck.
Oh my gosh.
What?
I'm Cosmic D12, and this is how to save an A press in Super Mario Bros. Oh, we did it!
And we're not done! We're still
Throw the
going!
stairs.
Oh my god.
Double
Two
bullet
quick
BBG.
ones.
Nice.
Wow. How many enemies did you just jump on? That was insane.
All of them.
Yeah. Get out of here, Hammer Bros. Alright, backwards facing shot? Oh wait, no, we're waiting on the Koopa.
Waiting on the Koopa?
And in the floor.
In the floor. Another Koopa walk incoming. I wonder if they're gonna... There's no way they can use
Crazy.
both the Koopa and a shot. The shots move too fast. Yeah.
Yeah, only this Koopa.
Nice hammer physics here.
Those
But
are
clearly-
Nice hitboxes,
Yeah.
yeah. And then everyone knows the 8-3 wall,
Wall
jump.
jump?
Oh.
Not just this Koopa.
2 Koopas?
2 Koopas.
2 Koopas.
This looks so absurd.
No way.
So what would you need 2 for?
Magic. For some magic to happen.
Yeah. Wow, you just went through like multiple hammers at the same time. These are great physics.
Yeah, everyone knows about the good hitboxes in this game.
Yes. Alright. Nice.
Cleared it.
They made a Koopa
Wow.
staircase.
Alright.
Of 2. Okay, I hope I've kept the 8 presses right so far, but if not, I'll fix it at the end.
As long as it
everyone
ends up
guess
50,
what
that's
room-
good.
Quick, everyone guess what room you think is longest in 8-4.
Right here.
Oh, you have to wait for the Koopas.
Oh my gosh.
Nice. And then the
Whoa,
bounce.
super jump.
Okay, this is like the craziest, one of the craziest part of the whole task.
Oh, wait, the fish. Oh my god, wait, what could you do with the fish? What?
Oh!
Just wait.
What? What?
In the
What?
pipe. In the pipe again.
What?
No
Climb
way.
up the pipe.
We've been holding A for 2
No way.
rooms, so he buffers a swim.
We've been holding A since wall jump room. Turnaround room was no A presses. Except for the buffer jump at the start.
I've missed a whole bunch of A presses.
That was the
All
most
right.
insane thing.
And ready for the ending?
Why would you wait here? I don't.
Oh, does Hammer Bro rush you?
The Hammer Bro? Oh yeah. Because if you wait, there's a Hammer Bro just off screen to the right here. That is active.
Mario making some sick beats.
How is it not? There we go. He's coming for us. Oh god.
He's coming. Almost fireball in the bro.
Nice.
There it
And
is.
there you have
time.
Let's
That
go.
is time. 10:20.
Time.
Let's go. That is the minimum A-Press task for Super Mario Bros. That took many years, many restarts, many strategies, many ideas that didn't work, many ideas that actually surprisingly did. We made them work. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed that. That is a very, very beautiful thing in my opinion.
That was insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That was mind blowing.
I was close. I guess
62.
Yeah.
It used to be 64 until we
Yeah.
messed it up and found some more saves.
How could you?
If you guessed the longest room in A4 would be last room, you were correct.
How long does that? Oh well, you'll tell all this stuff in the rewatch.
Yeah. Last room's like it's like 70 in-game seconds or something like that. Like ridiculous.
And luckily, pressing B to do is just a B press, not an A press. So you're good.
Mm-hmm.
Before we do commentary, I might just like play it again, give a bit to chill because it's like so much energy happening right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, should I just restart it?
Go for it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
A lot did happen, so you can.
So
Yeah.
before the actual commentary goes, I want to know some info. How long was this being made for?
It officially started.
You want to take that comment?
Yeah. I messaged Happy Lee in 2016 saying I wanted to make this, but it didn't really start until 2018 when Happy Lee was working on some other Warpless projects, and then he was done with those, and I couldn't do anything by myself, so he started helping me. And then we had to restart this 3 times because we kept finding A-Press saves, and most of the time they were early on, 1-2, 4-1, and 4-1, 8-2, 8-4. Those are all horrible levels to have to redo.
Oh yeah, especially with the cheeps at the end.
Yeah, we actually, for a while, we'd get through 8-2 and, start working on 8-3, and then, find an 8-press save early on. We we had to redo the turnaround room with all the cheeps, once, but we had to redo 8-2, 3 or 4 times or something.
Oof.
And, yeah, it was not fun. 8-2, well, I mean, we'll talk about it more later, but the RNG in that level is just ridiculous.
Kriller, do you remember the name of the person that found this A-Press save?
Yeah, Rat926. They have, a different name on... It's Pullover Mania on YouTube.
Okay.
They had done some minimum A-Press stuff for this game, and
Casual Koopa.
didn't do most of the A-Press saves we did here, but did that one. That one and one too.
We found randomly they had demos of minimum A-Press. They had a couple that we didn't have. We tried to contact them, but they didn't respond. But yeah.
Aw.
So yeah, that
can't
1-2
wait to
is
hear.
one of the most recent. The most recent is in actually wall jump room, bouncing off the Paracoopas, which for all the crazy
Yeah.
stuff in this run, that doesn't look so crazy, but it actually is barely possible.
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
a massive jump off those.
That turnaround room is
Yeah, using
Ridiculous.
pause in a
Most
task is so
insane.
sick. And that's literally
Yeah.
optimal. You'll get a slower... The pattern doesn't come as quickly without using pause.
Huh. I can't wait to hear how Koopa got here.
Rat926 was also the person who discovered SMB3 credits warp,
Oh wow.
according
Okay.
to the chat. Yeah. And they have some, a lot of really a lot of SMB1 and SMB3 videos that are pretty crazy.
Thanks for all the bits and stuff, everybody. And cakes, yeah, thank you for the 10 gift subs. That's crazy.
So Kriller was an author. Who were some of the other people who put in a lot of work into this?
There's also Happily, who's, like Cosmic mentioned earlier, wasn't able to make it to the chat. But then there's Periwinkle and Desmilecat, who I believe are both in chat. Like Cosmic was saying, Cosmic had the idea in 2016, Happily started helping him in 2018, and then after working on it for a few months, like took a break, and then in February of 2020, Cosmic told me about this project, and then showed me some stuff about it, and then Happily a little bit later reached out to me and then added me to the project in February 2020. And then a couple months later, we needed some more help with like code analysis and some other parts of the task, so Periwinkle joined to help out with that. And then a couple months after that, Desmilecat joined. And yeah, so that's 5.
Yeah.
Dang.
Periwinkle helped a lot with like Bullet Bill and Cheap RNG manipulation, and then so did Desmilecat. Like he wrote a spreadsheet that would like calculate if you got perfect Cheap patterns.
Wow.
Yeah, and a bunch of other like crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And Desmilecat like saved some time in like 4.2, which was like a level we thought we were totally done with and had been done with for a really long time. But then he was like, "Oh, look, time's it."
Because this is optimized for time too, right? Not just paper.
Yeah. There's like maybe secretly an improvement to this that we already know about.
Yeah.
Oh
it's
no.
Only a time save maybe, and we already restarted so many times. We're just
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the past 2 months, we've been consciously, month or two, we've been consciously not looking for improvements anywhere before 8.1 or 8.2. And then we had an hour or two of work left in this task. Literally all we had left to do was entertainment in last room. And then Happily was like, "Guys, I found a 100 frame improvement." And we're like, "Oh."
Oh no.
But we're just not gonna include it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's mostly all there anyway, and you can always, down the road, make the new and improved tasks.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta leave something for the other people to find, you know. Obviously.
How were we rewatching it? I just played it again. I can play it however many times I want. So,
I love the floaty physics with the Koopa at the start of 8.2.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of stuff that's very hard to understand, probably. Even if you speedrun this game, it's this stuff's never been done before, a lot of it, so...
Yeah.
We'll do commentary in a bit, and I'll do slow down and stuff.
Patented 1 to 59 slow-mo.
Yeah.
I love
Thank
how
you.
you actually improved on the YouTube video here.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Ted?
You improved on the legendary saving an A-press and A2
Oh, yeah.
YouTube video.
I remember doing that. For some reason, I remember some of the people that were in chat when I did that, and I remember that moment very clearly for some reason.
It's iconic. That's even been featured on TV.
You're right, yeah. And in summoning salt videos, wouldn't you know it?
What's the difference? I love how using 2 Koopas is best here.
Yeah, it
Is there
wasn't
only
always
2
that way.
Koopas in this
In fact,
level?
we went through... This stage might have changed the most over the whole thing.
Yeah.
And this stage probably has the most attempted A saves that didn't work.
I mean, yeah, there's so few things that didn't work though.
Yeah. Like,
Kind of
most things work.
Got everything to work.
Yeah. It was really crazy when almost anytime someone had an idea, they're like, can you clip here? Can you get here with these enemies? And then someone goes to town for a while and comes back and says they did it.
Yeah.
Nice. It's like, how do you even theorize 2 Koopas? 1 Koopa, okay, I get it. 2 Koopas? This is a totally different level.
Dude, in the thing in 8.2 with that floor clip at the start, I'll talk about it more later in the commentary, but like, Short Stories Happily is just insane. Like, planning that all out is ridiculous.
So good.
Good old Koopa staircase.
The 2 Koopa.
Goomba staircase, but in this case.
Yeah.
Wait a second, Goomba Staircase? That's not the right game.
Yeah, one thing about
Only
this
if you
task is
clone.
that it has parts that are like so insane to save 1 A press, and then you'll have a room like that where it's like, we just have to jump 6 times, nothing we can do about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the turned around room has 0 A presses. It's so nuts. Like, this room
Yeah,
is
this-
all done in half an A press.
You
love
can
this
clip through the first pipe, but it's slower.
Mhm. And we get to show off
That's what we did
funny
originally, but
sprites
then-
during the pause.
Yeah. Dude, I can't believe that turnaround is still.
I can't believe, like, 99% of what I'm seeing in this run is insane. Oh yeah, because you can't. I was gonna ask why that swimming section was slow, but then I was like, wait a second, you need to press A to swim. Of course it's gonna be slow.
Also, this part is tasked by Cosmic himself. This is his inputs.
Wow.
And now it's Kriller.
Until here, this is me now. Yeah.
I did so much.
You had your 5 seconds of fame.
5 seconds. That's a lot.
I ran out a solid 20 in game time.
Can't kill Bowser, unfortunately, but you can get like
It's
4
like a
shots.
frame from killing him with the last fireball.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I think that would be the 4th shot. Unless one of them did double damage.
Alright. Thank goodness. Peach tells us to push button B. We can do that one.
I know.
Okay.
Let's see. So you can beat the game in 0 B presses, 62 A presses.
Well, not at the same time, but yep, 0 B presses.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Happily has a high quality encode of this. He's gonna publish on his YouTube channel that has an A press counter and like an input display and stuff. So that's probably the best place to go and rewatch this afterwards. But yeah. We can set up for commentary now.
Yeah.
That was fun to watch.
That was fantastic. Fantastic work, Kriller, and all the team behind it. Especially to the person who set this all up. One Mr. D12.
Yeah, I did a lot of setting up and asking if something could be done, and then other people did it. But okay, anyway, speaking of setting up, I set up all of this for this reveal. I haven't set up very well for the commentary, so it's gonna take me a bit to transition, but there's lots of really interesting information, so stick around. Let me try and get that set up.
Cosmic, if you want, I can talk about some of the stuff that's like at the beginning of the submission text. That's kind of like background.
Yeah.
Or should I just talk about? Okay. So
Sure. We might have to
Go
repeat
ahead.
some of it for the YouTube video when, But
okay, do you want me to say it now or should I say it just later?
talk about whatever you want, but whatever you want in the video, you'll have to say later if you have to.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I see what you mean.
So the commentator version of this is going to be rewatched on. We're going to rewatch this on an emulator where they're going to give a more in-depth commentary with like slowdown and everything, just to show exactly how all the tricks work. It's going to be a great watch, so stick around.
Yeah, I think I'll just wait until a little bit later to talk about everything. It'll probably flow a bit better too.
Well, in that case, Ted and Nifsky, what were your main things that stood out, or biggest reactions? I don't know.
1, 2, that was pretty insane. Stomping the Koopa above the screen, and most definitely 8-4. That 8-4
Oh yeah.
cheap staircase, man. That was absolutely crazy, man.
There's so many cheaps they used. Like,
Yeah.
and then I think a part that I'm very interested to understand is how they turned a Spiny into a Koopa.
Yeah.
Like, if there's one thing I know about Mario, it's that Spinies are Spinies. And the Koopas are Koopas. But it doesn't work the same. They can't both be the same thing.
That is true. What you're saying, I shouldn't make this joke, never mind.
Yeah, good call.
But where was the A press?
Where was the apron?
Everyone posts that emote. That's incredible.
Credit to Hits Crits for that joke.
That's so funny.
But where was the apron?
Hey?
We can figure out where all the ape presses were officially. Finally, the question answered.
Okay. Well, that's not what I meant to do. Okay,
That is big.
Whoa.
more... As much I actually would totally be down to have you guys stick around, Ted and Nifsky, but I kind of... Well, I guess I could just stop... I would have to stop screen sharing, because I, like, need this monitor. So, do you want to just watch the stream?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, we're good.
Alright, cool.
Good luck on the commentary, Kriller and Cosmic.
I'm leaking
Thanks.
Discord.
Yeah.
Very cool. Alright.
Alright. Take Ted out.
See ya.
Okay, see ya. Thanks for joining.
Are you going to be screen sharing on Discord or no?
Oh, yeah.
If not, if you can't, that's fine, but...
Here, let me see if I share this window. Tell me if it looks okay.
See you. Yay. Whoa. The screen is like flashing like once every second.
Yeah, that's the problem. I had to share my whole monitor. Okay.
I mean, it's fine. I
Let
can
me- No.
I can just deal with it.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No. I'll fix it.
No, sorry. I cannot deal with this. Unacceptable quality.
Here, let me put Twitch chat over here. And then...
Oh, I should do this.
Okay. Now...
Whoa, that's not what I wanted to do.
Wait, Discord, come back. Sorry for taking forever on this, everybody. Okay. So, is this okay, Kriller?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it big enough?
If you can make it bigger, that'd be nice, but it's fine.
Okay. I'll have to recrop it.
Or if it's fine if it's small.
Chill.
Either way. Okay. Yeah.
Don't tell me again, Discord. Alright. Let me get out so I can see how big to actually make it. Professional streamer here. How's everybody doing? Get a little of the sides. All right. That's looking pretty hype, man.
That is.
Wow. That just looks so beautiful, man. How far do I have to push it down? Okay.
Okay.
We can finally do it. Okay, welcome to the commentary for the minimum A press tasks. We are going to be using slowdown and save states just to explain everything. Kriller37 is here. He is an author of the task. He contributed a lot more of the inputs to me than me, and worked on a lot of the really hard parts that are honestly over my head. So thanks for joining, Kriller, to help explain this. And
yeah, of course,
this will be fun. If we miss anything or like anything in chat, feel free to ask questions. We'll try and cover everything. Make it so everyone can understand to some degree what the heck is happening in this thing.
There's some like general concepts I could talk about, but I think I'll just mention them like once they come up.
Right, like gravity or
like
something.
For the first time. Yeah, like that in 1-1.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm ready to get started whenever you are.
All right, let's do it. So the very first thing, you know that you're going to want to get Fire Flower, because shooting fireballs to kill enemies is going to save tons of jumps, not having to jump over them. So you got to figure out where to get power-ups, and this first mushroom is perfect, because if you jump like the frame before you hit this Goomba, and you don't do a full jump, then you can hit this this mushroom, and then you have to jump over that Goomba anyway, so hitting that block is like a free block. Like, you get this power-up with no additional A presses, so it's perfect.
And then same thing on the power-up grab, you have to jump over the pipe. But we just grab the mushroom while we do that. Right.
And once again, this task has so many spots where you work extremely hard to like get past some jump and not have to, jump. And there's other times like this where there's no enemies around. Like, you just have to jump over the pipes. Like, there's nothing else you can do. So yeah, it's like already we're at 5 or 6 A presses or whatever, but there was like good jump optimization in there still, even just grabbing the power up. Alright.
Yeah, and then doing that floor clip in Underground loses time and doesn't save any A presses, but it doesn't actually lose any time because of frame rules. There just happens to be a lot of frames to spare in this level, so we are able to clip on the floor.
Right.
And then with all these crazy Goomba bounces, I'll start explaining gravity in this game. So, a lot of experienced Mario players know that you get these really like floaty bounces, or what I'm gonna call gravity, when you spawn somewhere and you haven't jumped yet. So Mario came out of the pipe and then he hasn't jumped yet, and then he was able to bounce like super high on these Goombas. The point of that in the game is so like when you run off the pipe, you kind of fall down slowly and it looks nice. But we abuse that here by bouncing on these Goombas super duper high to clear this gap.
Yep.
And you go ahead.
Yeah, this applies every time you jump. It's going to set you with a different gravity, because there's several different ones in the game depending on what speed you have when you jump. So sometimes we need walking gravity, which means you're just going at like walking speed. There's like specific range of speeds that it's between, but you'll bounce higher off enemies if you do a walking speed jump instead of a running speed jump. Or if you walking speed jump onto a ledge and then run off of it onto an enemy, you still have walking speed gravity, so you bounce higher. Same thing that's happening here, but this is like super floaty gravity.
Yeah, so the gravity only like updates to something else when you jump. So it doesn't matter what your current speed is, it only matters like what your speed was the last time you jumped.
Mm-hmm. And another trick that
And then
yeah, I just want to mention
Go
that
ahead.
there's a lot of times you can maintain a crouching state in this game even when it doesn't look like it, and one of those is when you run off of a ledge. So Mario actually crouches here, but it's the last frame before he runs off, so you don't even see it. But there is a down press. Here, there is a down press right. Oh well, I passed it again. There is a down press right here. You can see down on the input display. He pushes down, and so he's actually crouching right now, which is why his head goes through the blocks before hitting them, because he has crouching hitbox.
Mm-hmm. And then one other thing that's really subtle I want to mention here is that if you go back to when Mario's on the left side of the pipe, Mario's kind of playing around on the left side of the pipe, and he's like falling off it for just a frame and then going back on, and it's really fun and entertaining, but that's actually required to be able to clear this gap. It's ever so slightly changing Mario's Y position, or Y subpixels if you've heard of that before, which just gives him better Y position to barely be able to clear this gap. But yeah, as fun as those are to watch, it's also like required to do for this setup.
Yeah. And yeah, there's all sorts of super precise subpixel stuff, or like really precise positioning you have to do in this task, and you don't have the A button to let you do it. So a lot of times that's really hard to do.
Yeah. Should I explain what subpixels like are?
Yeah, go for it.
Or no?
Feel free to keep it really broad, though. Like.
Yeah. So, in this game, like, they have a number they store Mario's positioning with a number, and his positioning is just stored very, very precisely. So, like, his positioning is actually stored more precise than that pixel, so he can be like if he's standing on pixel 4. So the game will sometimes store his position as his position is 4.1 or 4.9. And like that 0.1 or 0.9 is like his subpixels, because that's his difference in positioning, even though it's within the same pixel.
Yeah, and the whole reason that exists
So if
is
you ever hear
because
subpixels, that's what that means.
It exists because if you didn't have that, then he could only move by flat pixels, and then like that really limits you. If you could only move like 1 pixel per frame, then you're going really slow, or like 2, or maybe 2 is too slow, but 3 is too fast. So Mario actually moves 2.5 pixels per frame in this game. So he'll move like 2 one frame and then 3 the next. And that's because like the half pixel carries over, and all of that's happening all the time to determine his exact position on the screen.
Mm-hmm. And then there's something I want to mention for these wall jumps too. Wall jump is a glitch, obviously, that many of you probably have heard of. It's performed by having good positioning, so you can go inside of a wall for a frame, and then all the walls are built out of like blocks. Like you can see clearly on the ground how big a block is. Like Big Mario is the size of 2 blocks. But if you jump at a wall in just the right spot, where you land on one of these blocks, then you can stand on it for 1 frame, as is being pointed out right now. And then if you jump on that frame, you can jump off of it. And then one special thing about the start of 1-2 is that this, to be able to clear the gap to the right after the second wall jump, you need to accelerate very quickly. And many people know about backwards acceleration, how if you're facing the opposite direction in which you're moving, you accelerate faster. But there's actually even more ways to manipulate Mario's acceleration. Depending on the exact scenario, there's like multiple different speeds at which you accelerate, and we need the fastest possible one here, which is why at the start we run to the right when Mario spawns and then run to the left and do the wall jumps, because that looks like just a simple time loss. But we actually have to run to the right and then build up enough speed to the left to both get a running speed jump and to meet all the conditions that are needed to get the fastest possible acceleration. Because if we don't have the fastest possible acceleration, then we can't clear that gap at the top.
Yep. This trick is like one of the things this task first started out as. I basically had 3 ideas, like 3 or 4 ideas in my brain that said, this for sure could be a really cool task because I can think of these things, and then I'm sure we'll find more. And like this is one of them. I was like, can you double wall jump up here? That'd be really cool. Yep. But the ending of this stage, I had a very different idea for. Kriller has helped a lot on the ending of this stage, so you can explain all this.
Okay. Also, if I'm ever explaining and I'm going like, I get carried away and go too in depth, just stop me. But yeah. Okay. Do you want to play through it first, or at least to like getting the Koopa stuck in the ground or something, and then I can talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That shows how much I know. I thought there was like lift manipulation or something. All right.
Well, there is, but I was just gonna like show it.
Okay, sure.
And then talk about it. Yeah. All right. So starting off here, you can bounce off that Koopa and hit the Fire Flower block to reveal the power up, and it's just you barely reach the Fire Flower. The gravities that we talked about earlier, you can't do this with running speed gravity, which is like what you normally have usually. But because of the wall jumps we did earlier, we have a gravity where we bounce higher, so that's nice. We can use it to hit this power up. And then right after we hit the power up, we kick the Koopa to the right. The Koopa falls off the ledge. We follow the Koopa. And then there's another glitch where you can get enemies stuck in the ground. If the enemies are low enough on the screen, and then you bounce on them, like such as this Koopa here, then it gets stuck in the ground, and when it wakes up, it won't fall, but it'll just stay at like the same level. It won't go up or down anything. It'll just walk indefinitely to the right, and it won't turn around when it hits walls. It just walks through walls. So what we do is we go and grab that power up that we used earlier, and then this Koopa wakes up. You can barely see a couple pixels of its eyes at the bottom, and then Mario is at the very top of the screen. And then because of some like imperfect coding of the game and stuff, Mario's hitbox, when Mario's at the above the top of the screen, his hitbox is also like at the bottom of the screen in a way, and we can use that to screen wrap and have Mario bop the Koopa. And if you go to the frame when Mario bounces on it, you can see the Koopa's eyes at the bottom disappear because it's been stomped, and the score appear at the bottom of the screen. And yeah, this whole setup is also very, very precise. It's barely possible to reach that Koopa. It's hard to tell because literally everything's off screen, but it's barely possible to reach that Koopa. We had to manipulate when the lifts and elevators spawn, exactly when the Koopa spawns, when the Koopa wakes up, what direction it walks to, and like the subpixels of the Koopa. And all this crazy stuff to be able to just barely reach this Koopa. But then it makes clearing this gap, you can clear it with a lot of room to spare. And you can't just run off the elevator and go onto the bricks, or else obviously we would do that. Right.
And originally we actually got the Fire Flower in a different position, a different place in the run, until we figured out that you could grab this in 0 A presses by bouncing off that. And yeah. So takes advantage of that mechanic, like he said, getting stuck in the floor. Like that's used a lot in this task, and I guess that happens because if you stomp an enemy like up here, it knows it's above the ground. But to know if it's on the ground, it just checks if it's on the ground or lower. So if it's lower than the ground, it still like stays alive. And yeah, because the game's 8-bit, like the screen. There's not so many values they can work with, so that's why the vertical screen wrap happens, and horizontal. Like, the screens are connected on these old games because there's only 256 values to work with, so they overflow and underflow really easily.
And one other thing that's kind of funny I want to mention is we actually did that exact same setup and were revealing the fire flower just for fun, but then didn't grab the fire flower, and then it took an A press to grab the fire flower in 4-1. And then it took us like 2 months to realize we could just run off the elevator and just grab the fire flower and no A presses.
Right.
And then we had to redo like so many levels of the task. It was so funny, but except not funny at all. It was just horrible.
Yeah. I originally had the idea for this level. So there's something you can do called like moonwalk screen scrolling, and my original idea was to clip in this pipe like they do in any percent speedruns, and then stand right here and moonwalk to scroll the screen, and not have to use a jump for the warp zone. But you have to scroll the screen all the way to right here, or else you'll go to the minus world, famous glitch, and you can't do that while still on the pipe. So we actually used to run down here, moonwalk screen scroll here, and jump back up, because it was faster, or I think just same speed but cooler than running over the top.
Yeah.
But now we save an A press, not having to do a clip to get in here. So yeah. And yeah, we used to grab the flower here. It seemed like a good idea because we need to get on this block anyway. So we're like, oh, okay. So it's good to have the flower here because we're jumping there anyway. But getting it in 0 A presses is obviously much better.
Mm-hmm. And then comes another new glitch. Well, not brand new for this task, but another glitch that hasn't been shown in this task yet. Is turning a Spiny into a Koopa.
I can explain
which is done. Yeah, you got it. Yeah,
sure,
you got it.
So you can actually turn. Well, I don't know about any enemy, but you can turn a lot of enemies into a Koopa. I know for sure I've done like Goombas and Spinies and multiple enemies, but I haven't tested.
You can do Goombas?
Yeah,
What?
and they don't stay alive. They like die and fall through the floor.
What?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Okay, so the reason this happens is actually really weird. I actually asked Micro500, if you know him, household name in tassing. Shoutouts to him. He is one of the pioneers of like task replay devices, the type of thing I use to play this task on my console. So, yeah, I asked him to investigate this. He went and dug into the workings of the game and like this was already known, but we didn't know exactly why. The reason why is because there is a function in the game that transforms Paracoopas into regular Koopas, right? When you stomp on a Paracoopa, it needs to become a regular Koopa. And for some reason, when you hit an enemy from below, there's like some kind of like the enemy's X position gets left over in a register, maybe because like they didn't. This is pretty technical, so if it goes over your head, like don't worry, it's pretty kind of need a background in like computer science type stuff to really get it. But I don't even understand this. So. The enemy's X position gets left over in a register, and then when it checks to see if it needs to run this function to turn it checks to see if it's a Paracoopa to turn it into a Koopa, and because its X position is left over in this register, certain X positions it thinks you just hit a Paracoopa, so it turns it into a Koopa. There's like 5 X positions near the left side of the screen that it does like a truncation, and then it like happens to match like Paracoopa value. Anyway, hit enemy from below near the left side of the screen, it can turn into a Koopa, is the thick and thin of it, or whatever.
Yeah. And yeah, so you have to hit the Koopa on the far left side of the screen, and we actually we use the second Spiny that Lakitu throws, and this is like barely possible. It was for a while we were like 1 frame away, but then I had an idea to like scroll the screen differently to get like the Spiny to be on the left side of the screen, and then it ended up being just like a couple frames faster, which was barely enough to be able to use that second Spiny. Or if we weren't able to do that, we would have had to wait another like I think it's about 2 seconds for another Spiny to be thrown.
Yeah.
So this was just a nice time save that we were barely able to do.
And because this isn't just a problem of like, oh, I need to run to the right and then back to the left as fast as possible. You have to, like, based on how you move affects Lakitu, so you have to, like, balance a whole bunch of stuff to try and optimize this.
Yeah, I forgot about that too, because we had to like get Lakitu to throw a Spiny on the far left of the block too, so it would stay on the block for as long as possible, so we could try to reach it.
Right.
But yeah, a lot of work in 4-1 was done by Happily.
Multiple times.
Yeah, multiple times.
Right. 8,000 kick.
8,000 point shell. Oh, 8,000 point shell kick is in this task.
I didn't even realize either, and that's like my favorite thing, so it's so cool. Okay, so once again, we stomp it below the screen. Now it's stuck in the floor. And every time an enemy, like a Koopa or a Buzzy Beetle, goes in its shell, it has a 50-50 chance of walking left or right, and it's based on a frame rule, just like the end-of-level frame rules. So there's lots of timer manipulation with this, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Koopa is like heavily manipulated to both wake up as soon as possible after being stomped and to always walk to the right. Because we want to wake up soon, because then it walks to the right sooner, and that's faster. So that's heavily manipulated throughout this whole time. And then, I'm not going to mention it every time it comes up, but like I talked about in 1-1 with like Y subpixels or like Y positioning being like subtly affected to get stuff to work, that's used constantly all over the place throughout this whole task. There's so much behind the scenes going on that it's like
this is just a sort of standard floor clip at this point compared to other things in this task. Could you explain a bit about what it takes to get in the floor like this?
Yeah. So the game's like wall collision. If you run into a wall, but you're at like the very top corner of a wall, the game won't just like stop Mario. I believe it's meant so that like if you like went to jump up to a platform and Mario's like the tip of Mario's foot barely brushed the corner of a block, like the developers didn't want you to fully come to a stop. So they were like, oh, if you're just like barely in the top corner of the floor, then we won't stop Mario. But we can abuse this by, if you, with like a really good angle and Y positioning, you can start to go in that top part of the floor where the block isn't gonna like stop Mario. So you see how he's still going into the wall. And then when Mario's moving upwards, the wall won't kick him out. That was the other condition I forgot to mention, is if you're at the top corner of the wall and you're moving upwards. So what we do is we get really good position here to go as far in the wall as we can, but then we don't go too high to actually land on the floor. And then as soon as Mario gets to the peak of his jump and he stops moving upwards, and now he's moving downwards, then the game is like, oh, he's in a wall now. We have to kick him out of the wall. But then right there. But then you see we press left right there as well. And that just essentially tricks the game into thinking we're running into a wall that's on the left of us instead of to the right of us. So instead of like trying to shove Mario out of the wall and push him to the left, it tries to like push Mario to the right because the game thinks the wall is on the left side of us. So it's like, oh, move Mario to the right to get him out of the wall that's on the left side. So, but what that does here is like pushes him further in the wall. I don't know if I explained that super well, but
yeah,
hopefully that makes sense.
Basically, walls want to keep you out of them, and there's kind of a flaw in the way they tried to program that. And it actually just pushes you opposite of what you're holding rather than pushing you out.
Yeah, that's a better way of saying it.
Okay. So yeah, we're in the floor. This is like the main thing that I had this idea. I was like, wow, we could make turning Spinies into a Koopa useful in a task, and you could skip so many A presses by being in the floor, running under walls like these. At the time, I didn't know exactly how far you could keep this Koopa going, or like anytime there's gaps, I was like, can you clear that in one jump, or like, do you have to jump again to like clip on the next one or not? And yeah, it's really cool what turned out to be possible. You pretty much keep in the whole stage and only have to jump when there's a really wide gap. Like a shorter one like this, Mario can totally run out and then bounce right back in.
And then one other quick thing I want to say that was just happening a lot that we forgot to mention is when Mario's in the floor, he's constantly, it looks like he's just inside these Spinies and just not taking damage. But what's going on here is there's a thing called coin toss in this game, which is basically just the game only checks for if Mario's touching an enemy every other frame. So on one frame it won't check if he's touching any enemies, and on the next frame it'll say, is Mario inside an enemy? If so, make him take damage. But it does that every other frame. So what we're doing is we're crouching and uncrouching every frame so that he's inside the Spiny's hitbox when the game doesn't check for collision with enemies, and then he's crouched and not in the hitbox when the game does check for collision with enemies. So he's constantly just spam crouching. If we were uncrouched for any one of these frames where we're crouched, we would take damage.
Yep, so we're totally inside it. It's not a Piranha Plant case where it's like half of it just doesn't hurt you. No, we're straight up where it hurts you, but only on even frames. Help.
Even or odd, one of them.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah, well, it resets every level, so it won't even be like even or odd. Like it'll change.
Right. It's like even or odd on that one timer that is used for lots of things.
Yeah. Yeah. Like here.
Yeah, so much.
And then we were able to get this Koopa set up in a really, really nice spot so that we can just run out of the floor, bounce on it, and get that good wide position to be able to clip all the way on the floor.
This Piranha, it's like incredible that this fireball kills it. Like,
oh yeah.
Why? I'm waiting.
I still have never like learned how that works.
Like what?
Yeah. Dang.
Alright.
I never realized how far right on the pipe it explodes.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue though.
I was just saying this is a wider gap than the previous one, so you do have to do a jump. But notice it's a walking speed jump. I think that's needed.
Mm-hmm. No, it's standing.
Or yeah. Sorry.
It's like
So
which is slower than walking speed.
Yeah. There's standing speed, walking speed, and running speed, and then like the super floating one. So
I love how we can just barely stay in this wall for long enough to get this next floor clip.
Like normally the walls, if you do get inside a wall, it just defaults to shoving you to the right until you exit it. But with certain inputs, you can stay in longer. So right here, you can see it's like spamming right every single frame to walk super slowly, or left plus right moonwalks you.
And then 4-1, this level is done in 6 A presses. But if we didn't do this big setup with the Koopa and everything, if we did it glitchless, it would take 13. So this saves quite a bit of A presses.
And if you don't know what happens here, if you know Bullet Bill Glitch, or even if you don't, basically, if you ever touch the flagpole from inside the block that it sits on, the flag doesn't come down. There's like some theories as to why that is. Can't 100% confirm. But most of the time, well, there's a glitch called Flagpole Glitch, which just the normal one, you just make the flag not come down, and then you go to the castle. But if you can grab it extra low, where Mario doesn't even make it up onto the block, then he falls out of it, and it instantly triggers this countdown. Because the way it actually works is when he walks to the castle, there's a solid block, and I'll explain it like. Let me just like grab a different save state, maybe. I don't have any. Yeah, anyway, normally he walks to the castle and then there's a solid block in the castle that triggers this countdown, but this is triggered by the solid block that is the flagpole. So, yeah, since you're in the ground, you can get a super low grab on the flag.
I think the warpless task occasionally shows off that block in the castle by like shooting it with a fireball in some levels. So you can go watch that later.
Right. Okay. 4-2, it's pretty short, and there's no like waiting moments, so it's one of the fastest levels. Maybe the fastest. Because the beginning, there's nothing special you can do. You have to jump up here, and 2 is the least you can get it in. But this is one contribution that Desmilecat came up with, and that's doing a backwards bump here. If you know anything about 4-2, you want to do a wrong warp when you go in the pipe, and to do that, you need to get Mario farther to the right side of the screen. One way to do that is by bumping into blocks. So we got some increased exposition here to the right, and then the rest of that will come, because we have to wait for that platform anyway, so that bonk didn't waste any time. And then once we jump in here, again, I explained that being in the floor, the game tries to shove you to the right. Maybe we get a bit more right before the pipe. Or maybe...
No, don't get any more.
Oh, yeah, I guess it just freezes. Like, you get it all as you clip into the ground, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the screen scroll is frozen for a bit.
Okay.
That's why backwards bumps give you exposition.
I think this made it so you didn't have to get any extra sliding from the ground, is the thing.
Yeah, because without that first bump, we had to clip in the wall and then just let Mario slide for a little while.
Yeah.
And it was like... and this is only like a few frames faster, but it saved 0.35 seconds.
Right. It's actually crazy. Just that jump to the pipe, I didn't even realize, like, it looks pretty, like, tight. Just jumping over the people and not hitting that block and then landing on the pipe with enough time to fireball the plant.
I never realized that either.
Yeah.
And then one other quick thing to mention is that if you did the same wall jumps at the start of 4-2 as we did in 1-2, the wall jumps would take 3 A presses, but what we do at the start here only takes 2, so it would just be an extra A press to do the wall jumps, and it wouldn't be any faster.
Right.
It'd be slower.
Because 1-2 comes more like over here a bit, right? So you can make it from wall jumping here, but you have to 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh wait, is that gap bigger?
Yeah, I think it is.
Oh wow.
I could be crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not, but it looks...
Yeah, and I mean, even if it wasn't bigger, it would still be an extra A press and slower.
Right. Okay. Fun little sound glitch here, by the way. Listen to the pipe noise.
Oh, yeah.
It gets canceled, the end of it, by the fireball. Okay. 8-1.
Do you want to maybe... You can probably talk about... Oh, sorry.
Sure. Yeah, I'm just pointing out, a lot of times in this test, you'll see Mario's going full speed, and then randomly he slows down and does like a slower jump. And that's all because of the gravity thing. So upcoming for some clips and things, you need walking gravity. So walking speed jump onto the pipe, and now we have that forever until we jump again. So if we need to clip in the floor, for example, we have that.
And then...
Go for it.
You can talk about how, like, clipping in the floor with 1 block wide gap.
Right. So this had never been done before in a test. There hadn't been a use for it, or like if there was, it wouldn't have been faster ever. But in this case, we would need to get in the ground in this because there's tons of pipes and things we want to run under. So I asked Happily, can you clip in this space right here? And he's like, I don't know, I've never tried anything like that. And he just comes back, I did it. So that was awesome. It's like brand new thing in Super Mario Bros. Tassing. And the very first time, he did a jump right here and then bounced off of the Koopa and then went into the wall. And so it took an A press to get in the ground. But we figured out that if you stand right here and slide out of the wall, basically the reason it's so hard is because... Oh, 1 sec. We got a raid. Hello, everyone. This is the minimum A press task. Thanks for the raid. We're doing explanation of it right now. Okay, so basically the reason it's so hard to clip in a 1 block gap is because in the past you could see most of the time it was like a wider gap. You had lots of time to get the acceleration you needed. Kriller mentioned earlier about like getting the maximum acceleration that you can, and you need that to clip in the ground here. And it's really hard to get in like this 1 block wide gap. But it is barely possible if you're standing on the left side, you slide out of the wall at the perfect time, there's just enough space to build up the max acceleration you need, and then barely clip in the wall. And isn't there something where like you have to push right on a certain frame and then it gets you a little bit extra in?
Yeah, you can go like a 16th of a pixel further into a wall if you press right, frame perfectly, and frame before you land inside of a wall after wall clipping.
And like
And
that
that's
makes
like-
the difference.
Yeah, I don't remember if it's literally required, but I
For
think it might be.
8.2 for
This
sure.
wall- For what?
For 8.2 for sure it is, right?
No, for that first floor clip, it's not.
Oh, okay. I misremember, I guess.
But for some of the other floor clips, it is, I believe, in A2. But this floor clip was like, it's so incredibly close to not being possible. It's like, it is just ridiculous. Like, if you couldn't stand in the wall in the left, like the wall we stand in right here, if you couldn't stand in there, even though you're on like the furthest right pixel of that wall, if you couldn't stand there, you wouldn't have enough space to build up enough speed to be able to clip in here. But just because we can stand on like 1 pixel further left, we barely have enough space to just build up enough speed.
And we used to do this with a Goomba, like one of these Goombas coming, because there's no time to like start standing here and then slide out for this Koopa as he falls in. But then Happily figured out that you could just kick the Koopa shell, and then there was enough time. So that was faster than waiting for the Goombas to come over. So that's a really cool looking strat, and just a crazy, crazy success story of this test. And we keep that all the way until here. We want to get out of the ground because, yes, you can run across 1 block gaps in this, but because there's a break in the wall that Mario's inside of, he'll exit the wall, and then you would have to do another clip to get in the next one. So you would just like smack into this and fall in the hole. So you need to exit, and you don't want to use a jump to exit. So Mario bounces off the Koopa. You always bounce on an enemy in this game if you're moving downwards. It's not about whether you're on top of it, although that if you're on top of it and moving upwards, you still bounce. But anytime you're moving downwards, regardless of where you hit it, you will bounce on it. So even though we're like totally underneath it and Mario's nose bounces on it, we get it.
I like Task Videos calls that a mustache jump, I think, which I really like.
Mm-hmm. So now we're
And then
out.
we still haven't jumped since the very start of the level, so we still have that walking gravity, so we can do that same clip that we did earlier.
Yep.
Except this time we don't need to kick the Koopa to the right, because we have enough time to get set up in the floor and everything.
That saves 1 A press, and we get out of it at the same time as clearing this gap, so getting out of the floor didn't cost any extra or anything.
And then we just have to wait for this beetle to fall on the floor so we can get it stuck in the floor. Same glitch as shown in 1-2 earlier.
And this time, like,
with a beetle this time.
Every time we do one of these get the Koopa or the beetle stuck in the ground, it's always like super important what height you keep them at, especially like 8-3. But yeah, this one specifically, you need the beetle to be, you can see it's like barely above the ground, and that's so that you can stomp on it later.
Yeah, I believe that's the highest a beetle can be. and that's like the only height where you can bounce on it. Like you can bounce on it from above the ground.
And again, all of that is hard to manage when you can only bounce on an enemy every other frame. So like sometimes you have to like manipulate when you spawn things or like when they wake up so that you can even hit it on the right frame.
Yeah, and like we were talking about, we mentioned what subpixels were earlier. And there's some weird stuff in the game where like the exact positioning or the subpixels of one enemy can affect that subpixel of the next enemy, and like we have to manage the exact like subpixels of enemy positions just so that like it's like a quarter of a Y pixel lower so that we can get the setup to work or like ridiculous things. Yeah. And then some more experienced Mario players may have been thinking of the idea of doing a full flagpole glitch with this beetle, but that would require an extra A press to jump to the flagpole to do that. So we don't do that.
Right.
We'll take another A press.
Again, there's holes here. You can't keep going in the ground. Gotta leave it. And then, yeah, you can bounce on the beetle here, and then you land on the flag up here. You can't, like, bounce. You'd have to bounce on the beetle, like, here to get the full flagpole glitch.
And then one other thing that we unfortunately did not get to show off in this task is that we finished a lot of levels with very low in-game time left.
Right.
And many of you may already know that getting fireworks loses time because it has to play out this animation of like showing these fireworks after Mario walks to the castle. But with no low enough in-game time, fireworks actually don't lose time just because of how the whole animation plays out and how the castle walk works and everything. And in like the old versions of a couple levels, we were actually able to get fireworks, but unfortunately we weren't able to actually get fireworks in the last version of the task. But if we did get fireworks in, like, for example, in 4.1 or in 8.1, it actually wouldn't lose time, so we wouldn't have to avoid it.
Right. We almost got 3 fireworks into a task. It would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Alright. Beetle friend wakes up. Alright. You worked on the beginning and the middle, and you worked a lot on 8 too, so...
yeah, so...
this is also...
Here at the start of 8.2... Oh, you go ahead.
I just want to say, this is also, like, one of the most precise, I feel, just from what I could gather when they're talking about it, like, managing subpixels to actually get in the ground and everything. So, yeah, this level and these floor clips are really insane.
Oh, I haven't been keeping up on the chat. But...
This is Kriller.
So, yeah...
Whoops, I forgot. I was going to put, like... author names and commentator names on the stream. I forgot. Rip.
Oh. Oh yeah, so this first enemy bop at the start of 8.2 is like really high and weird because as we talked about gravity earlier, Mario hasn't jumped at all, so he has a very high, like very low gravity, so it's like super bouncy and floaty. So that first bounce is just for fun. It doesn't do anything, it's just cool. And then, as Cosmic mentioned earlier, you can stomp enemies from below as long as Mario is moving downwards. So Mario just gets past the peak of his jump, and then is able to bop the bottom of the Koopa with his head, which is kind of funny. And then we get good positioning to do that same clip into the wall that I was explaining more in 4.1 earlier. So we're able to clip all the way in and then get past this staircase in 1A press, which would normally take 2.
Mm-hmm. I believe there's also a down input right here. Yep, so Mario again does crouch falling. He's crouching hitbox so he doesn't hit his head right here.
And then we can see Mario does a little slowdown at the spring, and that's again for the gravity. Mario gets to walking speed for 1 frame and then jumps, so he jumps with walking speed. And then you're able to gain back running speed on the spring. And even though we like do a big bounce off the spring, it's actually not a jump. So we keep the walking gravity even though we bounce off the spring with running speed.
Yep.
And then here comes just absolute insanity. All these ideas for 8-2 were come up by Happily. Happily like knew we were trying to clip in this floor, but the way it was originally done required like 2 or 3 A presses, and then we're like had theorized ways to do it, and like 2 or like maybe 1. And then while we were working on this, there was one point Happily said he had an idea to do it in 0 A presses, which was like blowing everyone's mind when he was talking about that. And we were all asking what it was, and he was like, just wasn't explaining it because he was just saying it would be too complicated to explain.
Yeah.
And then he was working on it like a little while, and then he was like, let's all hope this doesn't work because we don't want to have to like deal with this and like actually task this. And we were just hoping like it didn't work. And then after like a couple days of testing, he finally got it to work. But like when he first got it to work, it was still like he was just hacking in all these enemies' positions and just saying like, if theoretically we had all these enemies in these crazy locations at the perfect time, would this technically be possible? And then he figured that was true. So then we had to figure out a way to match all these insane circumstances. And there's a whole lot of stuff, again, like we talked about before, with like Mario's exact Y position, and like these Koopas are like, that Koopa in the floor is stuck at a very specific spot in the floor.
Looks like we're doing it's manipulation as well right here.
Yeah. I think that Koopa's position is like pixel perfect. And then we like spawn all these enemies at the perfect time, and then that bullet bill only has like a couple frame window to shoot. And we just have to get it to shoot at that time. And that's like really difficult to manage, especially with if there's too many enemies on screen, more bullets won't fire. So we have to make sure that like bullets don't fire beforehand too much, or else it'll be impossible to get another one. And like it's really, really difficult to manage all this. There's stuff like there's even a Koopa that spawns off screen that you never see, and we have to like manage it very, very precisely when this Koopa spawns and then despawns, even though like it never even comes on screen because like it affects the RNG and like when bullets shoot and all this stuff. This is like crazy to manage and is just insane. And then the Y position here is also really precise to get Mario to actually clip all the way in the floor.
So this is a 1 block wide clip, just like in 8-1, but this one has a block on top of it. So when you move upwards, you hit a block and it pushes you back downwards. So it's like a really difficult situation to try and clip all the way into. So that's why you need so many enemies, and you have to be like moving at this perfect speed with perfect positioning. And the enemies that are there are like RNG based, so it's really ridiculous. So you get like partially in, and then you bounce on the bullet bill, and like barely get in there, man.
Yeah. And like even with walls like that, you almost always, in basically every other scenario, once Mario can only get like partially in the wall, and then you have to like jump a bunch to get further in the wall. But we obviously don't want to jump. So the fact that we were able to get all the way in the wall with no A presses is like, it's ridiculous. It's one of those things that like looks insane and just like crazy if you don't know much about this game, but if you know like a ton about this game, it's like even crazier.
Yeah.
And then even after all that ridiculously precise manipulation, we have to get a bullet bill to fire from here as soon as we can. And with all the crazy setup we did earlier, there's not much you can do to manipulate future bullet bills. We actually got pretty good RNG and got like this one of the first bullet bills to shoot like really soon. And then this first one shoots like ridiculously soon. If you
That's
like you
as soon as it can shoot when you're if you're right next to it, they don't shoot, so that's really early for it to shoot.
Yeah, that's like, I think that's like as soon as it could, or maybe 1 or 2 frames later. But with how uncommon it is for bullets to shoot, that's like crazy. And then
All
we
of
do
this,
some.
like, speeding up a little bit and slowing down is totally like manipulating the bullet cannon timers to make them fire and like load on the right frames.
Yeah, like we do a lot of playing around to make this look entertaining, but it's very precise and exact movement. And then we have to find a way to also make it fun to watch, which is sometimes hard, but yeah.
And the reason we need so many is because there's a lot of things we want to skip jumping over. Like, oh, we need to get out of the ground because there's this one block gap. But we also want to be in the ground still, so we just clip in the next one. And now we still have to get out of the ground. So we use this one to get out of the ground. And then with like a perfect jump, you barely get enough height off that bullet bill to make it here.
Yeah. And then this is like a little bit more technical, but one other thing I want to point out is with those two bullet bills at the bottom of the screen that we just bounced off of, you'll notice one of them made it so that we, for this bullet bill that's about to be used right here, when we bounce off it, we don't land on the floor. We're barely too low to land on the floor. But then this next bullet bill, we bounce on it in the exact same way at the exact same time. But then it does get us up on the floor. And that's, again, with what I talked about earlier with, like, Mario's Y position and his, like, subpixels and things. There's, like... It's all just, like, extremely precise setups. And, like, there's so many hidden values and stuff in the background that had to be planned out and managed perfectly. Like where you are literally bopping these bullet bills in the exact same way, but one of them just gets us slightly lower than the other one, and it had to be like planned out and managed perfectly so that we got Mario's position to be exactly what we wanted it, exactly when we want it to. Yeah, so just so much ridiculous planning, all done by Happily. And then I helped out a lot with like actually tassing it, but Happily was like all the brains behind all of it with all the theorization and stuff.
I just always saw him saying, like, yeah, make the cannon timer say this, and make your Y subpixel this, and make the Koopa this, and...
Yeah.
Alright, so here, he does hit the wall here, like the wall jump pixel he catches on there, and that is a little slower, but it's just for entertainment because you need to exit this pipe with a certain timing, because once you're in this animation, the next bullet launchers will start shooting, and all you can do to affect that cannon is when you leave this room.
Yeah, and the main difficulty here is getting his first bullet to shoot as late as possible, and that's really rare. You can Happily was like analyzing the RNG a lot to try to find what frames you can come out of this pipe, and then like we had to come out of this pipe at that exact frame. And yeah, it's like the luck we got in 8-2 is just insane. Like how fast we got the bullet bill to shoot after the first floor clip, and then like as much as we slow down in that underground, it's really not that much compared to like what it could be. Like sometimes you'd have to slow down like a full second or two.
Mm-hmm. Like we knew if we make it in the underground by this frame, then we could catch this good pattern, like timing, and you really only had to waste a really small amount of time in the underground to reach it.
Yeah. I was gonna say something else, but I totally forgot what it was.
This is the coming out of a pipe or starting a level gravity, like haven't jumped yet. That's why this is so floaty.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then we keep the floaty physics here too, past the, because like we still haven't jumped, and then we use the floaty physics again to do a stair clip. And if you know a bit about this game, you may be thinking, like, a stair clipping in the stairs, I thought that was impossible, or else, you know, it'd be used in 4-2 warp zone to save time, or things like that. And you're right, it is impossible in almost every single circumstance, except, like, this exact circumstance, where we haven't jumped yet after spawning and have these really floaty, like, really floaty gravity. And it makes it so that we can just, like, stay in the wall for a while and get pulled really far in the wall before landing, which allows us to clip all the way in. And then
Need this bullet to shoot.
yeah, and then we just like get this perfect bullet bill to shoot after getting like the really rare bullet bills from beforehand, and then get
This
2 more
bullet
to shoot right
which
here.
that is like earlier than I've ever seen playing the game
Yeah.
RTA.
And then
you
we
get
need
2 of
2 bullet
them.
bills here too,
Yeah.
and like they have to be like yeah, this is just ridiculous.
The top one behind the bottom one.
And then again, like there's not a whole lot you can do to manipulate the RNG in this level, or like to manipulate when the bullets shoot and everything. So it's really, really difficult. There's some crazy stuff that was done, there's like a weird glitch that I'm not going to go into the details of, where like a bullet bill can spawn like for 1 frame, and it only exists for 1 frame, and it never appears on screen. But like according to like the game's like code and stuff like that, it like the bullet bill exists for 1 frame, and like we use that bullet bill existing for 1 frame to change stuff about how other enemies spawn to affect like the bullet bill RNG and stuff like that. It's just so much insanity that goes on.
Also some more of this. Alright. So yeah, I kind of mouse cursored this earlier, but yeah, here's the castle. It's finally in view this time. And normally Mario walks over here, and like this block right here is solid. And when he touches that, it says, okay, trigger the countdown and put Mario behind the scenery. And so that puts him behind the castle, starts the countdown. And yeah, this is the same thing as 4-1, where you're able to grab the flag inside the block and very low, so that you don't even get up onto the block. You get pushed out of it, and it says trigger the countdown because he's running into a block now, and put him behind the scenery. So I think it's really funny there's a tree here that you go behind.
Yeah, I love that too.
Okay, we all good on 8-2?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool.
Oh yeah, well, one other thing to mention about 8.2 is that there was an old version of 8.2 on YouTube that happily uploaded a while ago. That was like, yeah, it's like an older version. We had to redo it because we found improvements earlier in the task. And that 8.2 like pauses a couple times. And like we were talking about with how lucky we got in 8.2 with really good RNG, like the fact that we like didn't have to pause anywhere to manipulate RNG more is just like incredible.
Right.
We got so many fast bullet bills, and
could keep bullet bills stopped while advancing time, so that it gives you like more ways to let time pass without messing up your setup. But we got really perfect luck, basically.
Yeah.
Alright.
And the fact that like 8.2 has the least amount of A presses of any other level is insane.
Four A presses in 8.2,
Yeah.
which is like the most complex level in the game.
And like 2 of them are like before the first spring in the level. Like
right, like one of those is
there's
to
only
hop
2 A
over
presses
that
past,
tiny
like,
spring. Like that whole bullet bill section, 0 A presses. 0. That's insane. Alright. So beginning of 8.3 is like a classic spot where, okay, can't do anything, just have to jump over that, have to jump over this, nothing you can do about it, have to jump over this, nothing you can do about it. I do want to take a second to talk about this spot, because there's some bullet bills that shoot there, and you might think, oh, you know, get some bullet bills to follow you, maybe you can get past these stairs somehow, or like get a whole bunch of bullet bills following you, do something else in the level. And this is really the only level where we had some ideas that didn't work. Everything else we got everything to happen. But this spot we tried really hard to save some A-presses right here, and what we couldn't get. Some things were close, but we just couldn't quite get them. So couldn't get a good enough bullet bill pattern to like stomp them in like quick enough succession to either like clear this gap and that gap, or like run off of here and like bounce on multiple so quickly that you could clip in the stairs. It just didn't seem possible.
Yeah, we were trying to do a similar clip as the first floor clip in 8-2, where we like bounce off some bullet bills to bounce up in the wall and get all the way in. But we had to there was like just some extra circumstances here that made it barely not possible. It was extremely close, but if it was barely possible, like we probably would have had to pause for like a really, really long time. So it's kind of nice that it didn't work to some extent, or else there would just be like a massive pause.
Right. And yeah, we're already pretty close on time at the end. Another thing is that there was an idea to do what's called a damage clip right here, and it's basically the only like getting fireworks in the task would have been like neat, but like this is like a strategy that was theorized in a few places but just never made it in. If you take damage while moving downwards inside a wall, then during the damage animation you'll keep scrolling in the wall and clip into it, and those are pretty specific conditions because you can only take damage while moving downwards from enemies you can't stomp on, or like hazardous things like fire bars, hammers, things like that. So you need like a Spiny, a hammer, or a fire bar, basically. Those are your options. So, or I guess like a piranha plant. But yeah, so we had that idea to do that right here, but like you also would have needed some bullet bills to bounce off of, and if you got bullet bills to follow you here, then one of the hammer bros didn't spawn, and it's the hammer bro you needed to throw the hammer to clip off of. So yeah, it just didn't work out, but that was like probably the closest idea that didn't make it in. Basically everything else did. Also, the thing where the hammer bros charge at you, they only charge to the left, never to the right, so we couldn't use hammer bro charging here either.
Oh yeah.
All right, so that all done. Kriller.
Yeah.
You want to talk about this part?
So for this part, back in 2018, Happy was able to do a floor clip here. So this is a strat we had known for a while, but we were originally like running to the bottom stair on that staircase to the left, like bouncing a bullet bill to get to there, and then using like a bullet bill and the Koopa to get into the floor. And then like doing some extra setups like that. And then that was pretty difficult because we had to get a bullet to like shoot at just the right time. But then, and there was like a little bit of progress made on different methods for doing this floor clip here. But then once the Smile Cat joined the project, he did a lot of work with some like code analysis of the game, and he also like, I believe he made a program that just simulated the like physics of this game in terms of like how high Mario bounces, and then he was able just to run that to figure out like if we bounce on this Koopa on like this frame and this frame, will it get us set up to clip in the wall?
Right. He basically brute forced whether it would be possible and like what values would be needed.
So then that was like super helpful, and then Hugh came up with this strat to clip in the floor with just the Koopa, and which was nice and I believe a bit faster. And then 8-3 also had there's a lot of different ways we were doing this ending section, and a lot of different ways like theorizing it. Also, good hitboxes, team.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of hammer like dodges and even getting hit like ridiculous in this game, and this still surprises me. Like, what are some of these?
I think some of them just might not have hitboxes. I'm not totally sure on that.
Point. If there's too many on screen, like only 6 or 7
Yeah.
things on screen can have hitbox. I don't know.
But even if they do have hitboxes, they're horrible. They're like atrocious. They're just like not accurate at all. But yeah, also one other thing, which is I still don't know why. But if if Mario's clipped in the floor and there's an enemy standing on the floor, Mario can just run under it if he's crouched, or Small Mario. But for Hammer Bros, you can't. You just like die or take damage.
Right. So
Which
every
is
time you
weird.
want to go past them, you have to kill it, or it jumps over you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That either.
But then
Maybe it
yeah,
checks every
I guess
frame for
just
Hammer
bigger
Bros.
hitbox or something.
I know it does for fire bars. It checks every frame. Fire bars don't have a quick
Yeah,
toss.
well, even if it did, like if you hold crouch the whole time,
Oh,
like you still
right.
take damage to it.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, that is really weird.
But anyways, for this section, we bounce on this Koopa to help us get out of the floor, and then do a wall jump here, and then that's all while this Koopa on the right is spawned, and then we use it to clip in the next floor.
Mhm.
And again, we're managing like the RNG of when this Koopa is going to wake up and what direction it's going to walk, because we want to walk to the right.
Mhm. And you need
this section.
One thing is you can't reach this pipe with like less than running speed from down here. So I think at one point we probably like bounced up and waited for the Koopa to wake up again and then jumped up or something. But
Yeah,
Happily had a really smart solution, which was to bounce off of it and then wall jump. And that gets you up here with the gravity that you need, because you can't use running speed gravity for this next clip.
Yeah, you need walking. This was one of the most recent improvements too, is that wall jump strat. But like Cosmic was saying, there's a lot of different variations here with like, I don't know if we were always using 2 Koopas in the floor. I think at one point we were just like ditching that first Koopa and only using the second one. And we were like getting out of the floor instead of wall jumping.
Early on, I don't know if it was before you or not, we were using bullet bills at the end. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
At one point it was bullet bills and no Koopas. But yeah. This turned out to be fastest, and I think an A-press better.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure using the Koopa saved an A-press.
Mm-hmm.
I think Happily said that in the submission test. And then it's just a lot of waiting.
Yeah. Look at these, dude. What the heck? Like, what?
Also, I love this screen scroll.
Yeah, that looks so cool.
You almost never seen Mario face right the whole time and be able to do a screen scroll.
Yeah, I don't even really understand.
He presses right to fall off the block and then presses left to go back on the block.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. I was totally lost when I watched it too, and I had to like watch the input display frame by frame. But yeah, it was so creative. That was a lot of A3 was done by the Smile Cat, and those were his inputs as well. And then now we're back to another boring 8-4 first room where there's literally nothing you can do, and it's just like 6 jumps.
Yeah.
Like more than 8-2.
No enemies, like Goombas do tiny bounces, nothing we can do, just run through it like totally normal. It's crazy how you can spend like 30 seconds saving 1 A-press and then you run through a whole room 6 A-presses. But yeah.
And then so at the starting section we bounce on these 2 beetles to clear this first gap. And we do a walking speed jump at the very end. It's kind of hard to see because we make it kind of sneaky, but you need the walking gravity to bounce high enough to clear that gap with those 2 beetles. And that's been like a strat that I believe Happily also did back in 2018. So this has been a thing that's been known for a while. But then like a while ago, we were talking about trying to clear this gap with these Koopas, but we couldn't get it. We couldn't pull it off. And then we kind of like ignored it for a while. But then, just about a month ago, I was like messing around with it some more, and then I found the strat of bopping the first Koopa twice. And then I was able to like prove it theoretically possible to pull this off, but it looks like we just run to the right at the start of this room and then just use the Koopas as they're spawned. But there's like the spawning of these Koopas is heavily manipulated and it's very, very precise. If you just run to the right, the way the Koopas spawn, you can't clear this gap. There's like a lot of sneaky stuff that's done at the start to make it just barely possible to clear this gap.
Right, because if you watch the Koopas, like, they do a very particular path. They can do, like, some different things, but, like, they're loaded certain number of frames apart to be perfect, and also, like, this Koopa is manipulated so that it, like, runs into this pipe and then turns around. And you need all of that. So and look, he runs into the other Koopa to turn him around, I think. Yeah, they, like, do a little dance. And then
we were actually oh sorry.
Go for
it. We were trying, like, the first time we pulled this off, we had to wait for the Koopas for like a really long time, but we knew that wasn't like optimal. It was just when we were first figuring it out. And then we were working on improving this section to get it as fast as possible. With clearing that gap with those two Koopas. And for a while we were really pretty sure that the fastest strat was going to be you can manipulate the Koopas if you take damage to them. So we were going to take damage and then have to do the rest part without fire. But then happily came back, like, one day with this, which was like really crazy.
Yeah,
which was really nice. And then this super jump you can talk about.
Actually, like, changed because before we could save the A press from the Paracoopas, like, we spend some extra time, like, going a little slower right here, like, bouncing on this guy and then speeding up. So I think that makes all of that stuff basically made these guys different. So before we used to run faster, and then you could bounce on this Paracoopa up the right side, and you didn't have to wait for him to, like, get more to the left. But you couldn't do that anymore, so you have to wait for it to get to the left of the pipe. And then this is standing gravity, so you get a pretty big bounce up all the way to the pipe.
And then you'll notice that the A button is held the entire time here.
Right.
Because we don't do any extra A presses throughout the rest of the next room.
So that does a buffered jump right here. If you're holding A when you enter a level or come out of a pipe, it buffers a jump. Which also causes that weird animation glitch.
And then also because we buffered a jump there, which saved an A press, because like we carry over the same A press, that means that we're stuck with whatever gravity we have, which in this case is standing gravity because we jumped without any speed. And it just so happened that that is the gravity we needed to get all these crazy stuff, all these cheeps to work. And this is another level another part of the level where Mario's like Y position is managed very, very, very precisely. You can see like on the first cheap bounce, we like go up and to hit a wall jump pixel on the first pipe. Then when we bounce on a cheap later, we don't hit the wall jump pixel because we don't go as high because of like slight minor variations in Y positioning. And I believe one of these cheeps that's used on this, like right here on the right side of that second pipe, I believe one of those cheeps isn't even required, but the only reason we have it is to like slightly change Mario's Y positioning by less than a pixel so that we're able to climb up the pipe.
I think it's this one right here.
Yeah.
Because
it's just
it's that same thing where Mario would normally like stand on the edge and like kind of teeter, and that changes the Y. That cheap does a similar thing. Like that bounces to affect Y subpixels. And
then when we use these cheeps to climb up the pipe, for a while we well, actually I shouldn't start with that. I should start with when Mario's like partially on the wall, like he is on the right side of this pipe, the game is trying to push him out. But if we like walk super slowly to the right, we can make Mario stay in the wall longer. But we still have to slowly move like to the right towards out of the wall. And if we wait too long, eventually Mario's gonna fall out of the wall. You can't stand this forever. And for a while, by the time we got to the top of this pipe, we were falling out of the wall like I think it was 2 frames too early. And then we had to. It was like took a lot of work just to be able to stand on this wall for like 2 extra frames to barely be able to reach that last cheap to get up to the top of the pipe.
Right.
And then the pauses are used to manipulate the cheeps to get them all in the right spots. And yeah.
Right. So there's like a few different roads you can go down to try and get some, like any cheap pattern that will get you over these pipes or through the pipes. The thing with the cheeps is, like, cheeps can jump at different speeds. They can come up at different spots. Like, you need them to go at, like, the perfect spot, basically. Because Mario can't jump. So a lot of times you bounce on an enemy by, like, jumping and then falling down onto it. But if Mario ever just, like, hits the top of an enemy, he'll bounce. And you can only do that, like, by running at them when they're perfectly at floor height. So, like, all of these cheeps have to come at the perfect spot, so wherever Mario needs to bounce on it, it needs to be right there so his feet touch it. And, yeah, pausing just, like, this is a thing with, like, so, did Desmilecat made the spreadsheet that did this, right? Or was it Periwinkle?
I know Periwinkle, I don't remember exactly. I think at least the Smile Cat, maybe Periwinkle is still in chat. I know Periwinkle did some work with, like, I know they both did work with this, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh, okay.
I remembered, because I remembered the Smile Cat, like, made the program, but then I was like, I know Periwinkle made the spreadsheet, so, okay, thanks for the clarification. Periwinkle made a spreadsheet, and then, basically the Smile Cat was able to use that to brute force what, frames we should pause on, or like basically the combinations we could do to get cheap patterns that would let us clip through the pipes and like staircase up this pipe. And this was the fastest solution found by it, is with all of these pauses. And one thing that's pretty subtle is well for one thing, there's these really funny animations you can do when you shoot a fireball. Like, it updates the top half of Mario, but not the bottom half, so we took advantage of the fact that we get to pause in this task to show off those funny sprites. But something really subtle happens right here. If you know this room, in speedruns, you go in this pipe because it's faster. You're supposed to go in the next pipe to go to the water room, but you can go in this pipe if you scroll the screen far enough to, like, load the next pipe's entrance point, basically. So you do need to scroll the screen far enough, but and this is the right spot. But also when you come over here, you start making 3 cheeps jump. At the start of the room, only 2 cheeps can jump, but if you scroll the screen far enough or like come far enough into the room, 3 cheeps start jumping. So that lets you get a faster pattern up as well, or like it might even be required so that you can do this crazy staircase.
Yeah, and then one other thing that's definitely worth mentioning is Happily had originally done this room with 1 extra A press. This last like cheap climb to the pipe, Happily didn't do. He just jumped to the pipe after clipping through the pipe and running to the right. He just jumped. And then we knew it was like theoretically possible to do this to save that A press, but Happily was saying it was like too wishful thinking, and like it wouldn't like, we know it's technically possible, but like practically it would just be like too ridiculous and too hard to do. And then Desmilecat was like saying like, no, like I think we can do this. And Happily was still just like, you know, like I don't think we should try to do this. Like it's not gonna be doable. And then like the next day, Desmilecat was like, okay, I did it.
Yeah.
And
there was a lot of moments like that in this task where someone was just like, I'm gonna do this, and they come back and they're just like, look, it is done. So this A press save, like this is like the craziest part of the task,
and literally would not have been possible without the Smile Cat. As well as many other parts would not have been possible without the Smile Cat or Periwinkle or many other people. This whole task was a lot of effort from a lot of people.
Okay, so we're still holding A through that whole room. It let us buffer jump in at the start of the previous room. It also buffers a swim right here. That actually does not save an A press because you could use a swim to clip through the corner right here. So if you had to release, then you would clip through the corner here. And yeah, that lets you go all the way through this wall in one A press instead of buffered swim plus one swim. Since we were able to hold A all the way, it's faster to just go over. But if we couldn't, then that was an alternate possibility.
Also, that frame you were just pausing a moment ago was shooting the invisible piranha plant that's in the pipe we come out of.
Oh,
that's not some crazy glitch, but just kind of funny because there's actually a piranha plant in the pipes underwater. It's just they're behind, the picture of the piranha plant is behind the picture of water, so you just can't see it.
This the water is on a layer in front of the piranha plant. Right there. That's also why Mario disappears when he goes in the pipe at the end.
And then there's another probably pressing down off that ledge to make Mario's hitbox smaller.
Same as falling off the other ledges. Yep, right there.
There
But it's always the last frames. You never actually get to see the crouch. But trust me, he's crouching. Look at this. Okay.
Yeah,
and again.
water room. Yeah. Oh yeah, crouch.
And if you're wondering about like his leg glitching out, that's what happens when you push left and right at the same time while swimming.
And then I really like you can just barely make this last gap with only 2 swims.
Yeah. I remember
which is just
when
something I totally didn't expect.
I went to test water room like well in advance because we were just stuck somewhere else. I'm like, I'll just start looking into 8.4, and I remember testing this, and I was like, "Can you do it in 2? Can you do it?" And it barely made it. I was like, "Yes," because that would have been so lame to do like a whole other swim.
And then one other thing to point about water is that Happily, as you all know, is very good at tasking, and he commits to trying to have everything be perfection as much as possible. And he was spending multiple days trying to kill a squid at the start of Water Room just for entertainment. But if you killed the squid, it would it changed the fire bars later in Water Room and lost a little bit of time. But he was just wanted to have the best entertainment where you kill as much as possible, and was spending so much time trying to just kill one extra enemy just for entertainment. But yeah, and it's there's that happens, but 100 times throughout every other level, where a lot of time is spent on very, very minor things.
It's this, if you want to understand, go read his everyone should read the submission text for this run as well, but also his warpless tasks of this game. Every level he explains all the things he's trying to make do, and 5.3 he's I did this really precise thing to make 2 bullet bills fire at the same time.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
It was really hard to pull off, and it's purely for entertainment. So just an awesome task.
Yeah, has this been submitted to task videos yet?
I think he did it today, or will do it today. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Hitscrits, I will check in a bit if it's been submitted to task videos yet. But if it hasn't, just go to taskvideos.org and you can look up, I believe the official name of this is Minimum A Presses Task. And then you'll be able to see, okay, yeah, the Smile Cat said it's not submitted yet. You'll be able to see the submission text. Just be prepared because our work in progress of the submission text is an 11-page long Google Doc. So
and it's actually
be
not
prepared
even
for a
that,
lot of information.
In depth. It could have been way crazier.
Yeah. So there's a lot of description about the whole task in general, and then also, each author of the task wrote a little bit about just whatever they wanted to say. But yeah, there's a lot of information there, so it'll be a great read.
All right, this part, crank up the music a little bit because we just had some time to kill waiting for this Hammer Bro. Hammer Bros start charging at you after you wait like 30 seconds. I don't know. It's like 50 game seconds before he starts moving towards you. Maybe 60.
Yeah.
And, yeah. Just went ahead and made Mario do some funny moves and Fireball make some nice sounds.
Yeah, we also spent so much time on this last room entertainment. I really like this music sync.
Yeah. Do. Wait. Gotta watch it again.
This is the part that you tasked, Cosmic. These are
did
your
this.
inputs.
Whoa. Suboptimal falling. Crazy. This part I like made up, though. I wanted to make him keep falling off while turning around. Wow, this probably could have been done better. But now Kriller took over. He did nice turns and all this nice beat. This part, he's like spinning around like crazy. His legs, dude. Also, when you run across.
I think that was from crouch standing.
Yeah. Like, each time you run across... Oh, wait. Was that... Maybe that was in the old one, actually.
What?
It used to be, like... Each time... You, like, ran back and forth across the pipe 3 times and did, like, 3 different spams.
Oh, yeah. No, that was in the old one.
Okay.
The old version of this. Yeah, but we had to, like... There's... Like, the fireball's exact positioning and, like, subpixel and stuff are manipulated really heavily here, just so we could shoot. Dude, we spent so much time just trying to, like, shoot
just for, like, this moment. Like, to shoot some fireballs.
Because usually the fireballs...
Cleared the gap.
Like, those fireballs will often hit the pipe instead of bounce over it, but with, like, certain scenarios, they can bounce over it.
Look,
and, like, the fact that we honestly got 5 in a row to bounce over is, like, ridiculous. But, yeah.
Because, look, he's shooting them from, like, the same spot, and, like, that one explodes, and then these ones don't.
And, like, and even, like, that fireball that killed the plant.
Right.
Like, had to be shot at a super specific time, and, like, for, like, with Mario standing at a certain spot. Like, if I shot it a frame later with different coin toss, it would have hit the plant a frame later, and then, like, the next fireballs would have hit the pipe instead of, like, bouncing over.
Yeah. Alright, so yeah, all that waiting was just so we could do this one bounce off the Hammer Bro with the really floaty physics of coming out of a pipe without jumping. Did Rat921 also find that one?
Oh yeah, that's what it was. It was the Koopa getting stuck in the floor in 1-2, and then using this hand, or it might not have been Rat9. I know we got it from some other video. Yeah, I think it was Rat926. Rat926 definitely did the thing in 1-2, but for the thing last room, I think it was also Rat.
Yeah. Someone else that we tried to contact helped with that part.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Kriller does some... Okay, the fireballs there are so funny, dude.
Yeah.
Look at the... Like, he's doing the crouch every other frame thing, but Mario's also shooting a fireball. So that's so funny. And then... Same thing with Bowser, is like you do some crouches so you don't get hit.
Yeah.
And then look how
Except
close...
we only had to do one crouch there.
Okay, look. Bowser dies in 5 fireballs. You might think, oh, I've heard this thing where you can do double damage to Bowser sometimes. That's only if you hit him, like, right here. So you can't do that from the back. So 1 fireball, 2 fireballs, 3 fireballs, 4 fireballs, 5 fireballs! Bowser's gone. That's the end of the task. It's so close.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I really like it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's
Yeah.
the minimum A presses task. That's all that went into it.
Yeah.
Tried to make it technical enough that you understand how much went into it, but hopefully still in a way that anyone could follow and just kind of understand what went into it, even if you're not the person who made Mario go in the ground in 8-2, because even I don't know everything that happened there.
Yeah, and then this video will be on Happy Lee's YouTube channel within the next, probably within the next 12 hours. And then it'll also be submitted to taskvideos.org, where you can see the submission text. You can see my notes, Cosmic's notes, Happy Lee's notes, Periwinkle's notes, and Smilecast's notes, and a whole bunch of other information about the tasks. And again, those are all the authors of the task, like I just said. It's myself, Kriller37, Cosmic, of course, Happy Lee, and then Periwinkle and Just Smile Cat were all authors of this task and helped out and did an amazing job. Each one of us found our own things and had our own discoveries, and there's so much that wouldn't have been possible if even just one of us wasn't here helping. So it was a great project to work on everyone else with.
Zimbo asked, do you think this count could be improved? There's 1 or 2 spots where there's potential and we didn't make it happen, but I could maybe see it going to 60. It'd be pretty hard to find anything past that, I think. Even 62 is doing 8-2 and 4 and then 8-4, however many we did it in, is so crazy to me that we did that. So it's already so nuts. Of course things can always be found, and there are a couple spots that have potential. So maybe 1, maybe 2, but it's really close to the minimum, I feel like.
If we got every idea that we ever thought of to work, it would probably save 1 more A press in 8-1, maybe 2, but probably just 1. 1 more A press in 8-3.
Right.
Maybe 1 in 4-1, but I don't even think that. Yeah, so like Cosmo said, 1 or 2 most probably as of right now.
Yep. So 62. It seems like maybe a big number, especially if you know Mario 64 gets all 120 stars in 18 or something now. But that's a very different game. They can move. They have lots of enemies, and they put them wherever they want and do all sorts of stuff. And we have tiny little bounces off of really simple enemies. So yeah. And there's no way you're getting over the first Goomba or the first pipe. It's just there's just no way.
We have left, right, B, and A to deal with. You're gonna have to use all 4 buttons.
No backwards slope walking in shallow water to build infinite speed or whatever. Right. 64 has dives and slide kicks and other ways to get into the air. Yeah. And we have walking off ledges.
At least we still have massive long tangents to explain how to save 1 A press somewhere.
Alright, yeah. Maybe in the future sometime they get a damage clip in there. I feel like it would be complete if a damage press saved an A press somewhere.
Yeah.
That's really the only missing piece in my opinion. But the fact that what we even did is dream come true.